Why not Riddlers over Flow State? Because ZKG wanted to play Flow State. That's about all I got as far as an answer to that one. I don't like Flow State over Riddler. But I admittedly have not played a ton of Flow State. So I'm interested in seeing how it goes. Like, it's really a personal preference sort of argument. So, like, I'm always in favor of, if I have to choose between two cards and one card is slightly worse, slightly less consistent, whatever the case may be, but kills your opponent, I want that one. And if the first one's like slightly stronger, slightly more consistent, but doesn't do anything to like impact the game, I don't want that one. That's my personal 2 cents on it. So Flow State, I think, is like more consistent than Riddler, more impactful in the early game, but it doesn't kill my opponent. Therefore, it's farther down on the list. Like, if you get into a mid-range battle and you're casting Flow States and effectively drawing 2, and your opponent is casting Riddlers and drawing 2 and getting a 4/6 body, you're probably going to lose that matchup more often than not. That was like the entire reason. That was the entire reason that I dropped Merfolk Regent. Was at the time Esper Gorios and Esper Blink were extremely popular, and when you play your big over the top bomb and it's a 2-mana 7/7 or 8/8 or whatever, and it's really cool, but then your Preordains are drawing 1 while your opponent's Riddlers are drawing 2, and then you play your Merfolk and you need to like hold them at bay, but you just go, oh, counterspell your Solitude, they warp a Riddler, draw 2, draw into an ephemerate their Riddler, draw 2 more, you attack them with a Merfolk, they Solitude again, you counterspell it, then they draw 2 more cards. Like, eventually they're going to overwhelm you. So it kind of becomes a battle of like, you can win a lot of games against uninteractive decks, but then as soon as they start stopping you from winning, your percentages go down pretty heavily. We'll get to see kind of how this hand plays out, but how different is this going to look if this Merfolk were a Quantum Riddler? Opponent says, are you the Demir Cntrlfreak from YouTube? I said, I'm a Cntrlfreak from YouTube. I don't know how many there are. All right. Am I at all interested in taking this Lorien Revealed? Taking a counter spell. I'll be greedy. If they just like surveil into a second land, though, this looks a lot worse. All right, so they kept a card on top, assuming that means the second land is in our near future. Hey, look, the thing. Deck isn't playing Counter Squall. Unfortunately, it's not. Should fix that oversight. A jam frog. I used to play a lot of like Grixis. I guess you would call it Grixis Control. It was more like Grixis counter burn with Snapcaster, Counter Squall, Lightning Bolt. You know what? We're gonna flow state. Opponent main decking a consult the star charts, or main phasing a consult the star charts. It's got to be a sign of weakness, right? Ooh. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize flow state. It's the thing. Thing I said I wanted to see. 2, 3, 4, 5. Merc Father. Wait, are we back on Merc? Sometimes you make mistakes and register Merktide Regent. Do we not have any Surveil lands in this deck? Oh. Counterspell is nice. Think there's any way we can kill with Merc this turn. Trying to just gas this back up. Well, you kind of forget the part where they're a deck with solitudes and counter magic and all this stuff we really don't want to see, and we're a deck full of fatal pushes and yeah, Supreme Verdict. Worms Chant. Well, I guess when you draw fairly well... Okay, he's gonna go Tef and die next turn. Hey, look, second Kaito coming in clutch. Haters in shambles. Jordan. You missed good, Murky Boy, didn't you, Mikey? It felt good hitting him with a 10-10 big flying 2-mana dragon. Found like the matchup that didn't do anything and got really fortunate that they didn't draw better. I don't think I'm necessarily chalking that one up to Murktide. I really thought they were going to have a spell snare for my my counter spell there. Tassiger doesn't fly and doesn't become this big, but you don't need Tassiger to fly and become this big. Tassiger could fly if he wanted to. He just finds the idea unbecoming. Like, Tassiger, you want to fly? Nah, I'm good. Hard pass. Raggy-oly. Murktide's like, I'm a dragon, fuck yeah, I'll fly. Murktide's like, I'm a dragon, I have no other redeeming qualities in my existence, I guess I'll fly. Kept a card on top. Ending on Ragavan. Am I fighting over this? I think no. I think I like going for Frog turn 2, trying to like force negation a Teferi or a Narset. And if they have a mystical dispute for the Frog, then they would have had a mystical dispute for the force negation. They like fighting over this because if they have snare dispute, we're kind of cooked when we go for Frog. I mean, if they had spare, or if I fight over the Ragavan and they have a mystical dispute, then I'm not going for Frog on turn 2, because if I do, they just get a free resolve to Fairy. Sounds not good for the home team. Look at all my cards that don't kill my opponent. They just had both. Of course they did. Do you not pay attention to all of my opponents in every league I've ever played ever? Of course they have both. I think I'm just going to jam Merfolk. Start trying to attack my opponent in the face. Please, opponent, in the name of all things just and holy, don't solitude me. I ask you kindly for this one favor. Give me the counter spell. Okay. Better than a full value kick consult, I guess. All right. Game time. Show me a psychic frog off the top of the library. Actually, frog doesn't do it, does it? Frog's one short. All right, put the fear into him. Interesting. But it said that gave me a heart attack. All right, now you do absolutely nothing for 6 straight turns. Second Solitude. What do I want? Did they play a land last turn? Yeah. Okay. If they held the land, then I think it was fine. If they played the land, I should have held that Thoughtseize. Hold off on this for a turn. See if I draw into a another Thoughtseize or something. Have star charts. 3. Back on the play for game 3. I don't think I'm changing anything up. Let's go. You remember my tinfoil hat theory from the other day? That you change up decks and all of a sudden Moto shifts what you run into based off what you register with. I go from the list that's like on Quantum Riddlers and stuff like that, Wasps, and it's registering me into Tron, Scape Shift. And then I register the deck that's like aggro and good against those things, and I get a Solitude matchup round 1 with Murktide Regent. I'm telling you, it's a thing. Gonna pop up in the news eventually. I gotta look for something more proactive. I've got like Ragavans and frogs and stuff. Yeah, this is way better. Only ever what, like 1,700 online on average during peak. Could not tell you. Is that what I'm throwing back? I want to go Rag on 1 into potential Kaito on 2. I might just not have a chance to play Thoughtseize. Like, if I go Rag on 1, Frog on 2. No. Throw back Lorian. I wouldn't call it easy. Because, like, this Thoughtseize is, when am I casting this? If I go Rag on 1 and Rag hits, and I go Kaito on 2, then I'm not playing a land on 2. If I don't draw a 3rd land, I'm playing Frog. That's not Thoughtseize. Like, I agree Thoughtseize is a good Magic card. It's just, when is this fitting into my plan? Yeah, I should have thrown back the Thoughtseize. I should have listened to my gut on that one. Like, it's a good card, but if I'm not using it, it doesn't make sense to have it in my hand. Where, like, Lorien Revealed, getting me closer to finding the third land or the fourth land would have been, like, exponentially better here than just clunking up. Mistaken coming in with the raid. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Hope you had an awesome stream. Like, these Thoughtseizes look actively not good right here. I'm going to use them because I haven't hit my land. But if I had just like the extra land for Lorien Revealed, I would much rather do that. Now, they do have an Odawara. We finally hit fourth land. So let's go Thoughtseize. Opponent has hit another copy of Solitude. They can add Kahira to hand and have a card to pitch to Solitude. But I think I'll take that. I'm planning on them adding Kahira, solituding one of these, and then I'll Kaito off the other. I assume they're going to solitude away the Merfolk. Solitude, Odawara, unknown. Or they do this and just like lose the match on the spot. What do I want to do? If I discard jump 2, 8, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Hi, Michael, you handsome man. Oh, thank you. They're gonna pass with Otawara. They should just go add Kahira, Solitude, the Murktide, Otawara, the Kaito main phase, I think. They should not go to my turn. Got it. We've got Solitude and Unknown Draw coming off the top. I can put Lorien and Revealed in the yard and be able to flow state. That's also pretty good. Boo. Boo, I tells ya. Using Otawara on the Merc is weird. I agree. Like I said, I think they should have added the Kahira, Solituded the Solitude the Murktide, and Otawara the Kaito right there. So yeah, we'll just go to combat. Attack in. They play Solitude. We shield Drazedic the Solitude. We can Subtlety the Solitude, or we can whatever the Solitude. This comes down. No cards in hand. Shieldred's Edict. Sack a non-token creature. Oh, it's a nice person. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, for most like blue-black X piles in Modern, blue-white control, unless they draw exceptionally hot, you're very, very favored in. Swifty 22. I wonder if that's Taylor Swift feeling 22. I hope that's the reference here, because that would be hilariously awesome. All Taylor Swift's like getting married this week or something, or next week. Sometime in the near future. Especially with Rags. I'll give you the Ragavans. Flow state, like, normally you just be on Riddler, which is pretty freaking good into them too, so. Alright, I'm gonna get Blood Crypt here. I know that I can't hold up Counterspell on turn 2, But if I do hit them, I've got double black spells to cast. Or if I don't hit them, whatever the case may be. Tide Shaper. Legal Merfolk move. Not playing out a Aether Vial on turn 1. Thoughtseize, so I can start off next turn with Flow State. Gross. Playing Cavern instead of Mutavault for the block potential. Oh. Fatal Push Frog. I think the games versus the blue-white control were quite impressive. The opponent seemed very skilled. Was that you last round? Nice. I told my chat you were being extremely friendly in the chat, so I approve. It's always a plus to play against people who are being nice. So flame love it. All right, so opponent's got a Mutavault and an Unknown. We have got Frogs for Days. I kind of feel like I should just attack with this Ragavan. Just like take the trade-off with a token. What? Excuse me? Why would you ever block with the Mentor there instead of the token? Was that just like a misclick block? Like this takes off Flare of Denial if they're running that. It's a bigger threat with any lord, like any Island Walk lord. He has Namor on top, clearly. Hold up. Let me go look what Namor does. I know it's the one that, like, gives you Merfolk for your non-creature blue pips and whatnot, but is there anything more to the card that would explain the block? Power is equal to the number of Merfolk you control. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with one or more blue mana symbols, create that many 1/1 blue Merfolk creature tokens. Yeah, it's just Merfolk in general. Ragavan looks so awful on the draw against them. Dude, everything's bad against this. Here's my deck full of 75 counter spells. I'm sure you still want disputes versus flares. I don't want, like, anything of the sideboard because it's all situational. It's like, oh, flare or dispute's fine against flare unless they have 3 mana. They can just pay for it, which they have a decent chance of doing since the flare is free. I really don't want to board in Meltdown just for Aether Vial. Where's the Colligan's commands when you need them? Got there? Hell yeah. Did you take it down or did you make top 8? Trusty one of Molten Collapse. Want it again? Hell yeah. Were you playing Trudge? Rebellion Hexcatcher. I was ready for them to violin just like some absolute nonsense. Boros Ponzo with 4 Writ main and 4 High Noon in the main. Good lord. Going off the deep end. Can't cast that. That's some player hater of the year deck building. Okay, what's the plan here? I think I'm just attacking with Ragavan. Don't love attacking with the Orc into a potential free block. This seems so greedy. Hmm. Probably just have to Kaito next turn. Kept Vial on 2. Pretty good. Into Stupor my Ragavan. Sure. They've got to have a Harbinger in hand or something, right? But then why wouldn't you tick up the Vial to 3? It's just like, this is a lot of effort to keep Ragavan off the battlefield. So I'm kind of trying to figure out, like, why they're putting so much effort into Ragavan. Like, I know it's a good card, but... Now they did take up Vial to 3. I'm so confused with their Vial decisions because they could have ticked up Vial to 3 last turn. They don't have a 2-drop. They didn't have a 2-drop last turn. Got it. Another one. Think I just want to Bowmaster ping off their Tidebinder. Ragavan connects. The treasure. I've got mana to flow state twice next turn if I happen to need it. But I have the opportunity to Aether Violin a Psychic Frog, and you don't get that every day. Or Aether Violin a Merfolk Regent. Yeah. They laughed at me initially. Boink. Surprise, was I, Kaito, all along. Do I want to stun down this Tide Shaper? Do I want to draw? Do I want to... I just want to stun down this Tide Shaper. Give me a Merfolk Lord. Draw a card, you say. A bold thing to be wanting to do into the known Bowmaster. Man, I love Orcish Bowmaster. There's so many times I want to cut the card because it's not just an over-the-top powerhouse card, but then it's got like so much little utility interactions or spots that it plays significantly higher than its mana cost. I think we're going to go down the rag on the draw. I think there's more matchups I would like Thoughtseize. I have no idea what plays. Arid Mesa, oh. Idiot. I am an idiot. Quarry Steel Cutter. Slick Shot, Slow Show Off. Dart, Monastery, Swift Spear. Do I take the Swift Spear and hope they don't hit a second land drop? Do I take the Quarry Steel Cutter? They surveilled this expressive iteration into the yard. I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to take the Swift Spear and just hope that I can, like, put them off of hitting the second land for a turn or two. Naturally. Just the immediate windmill slam of the second land. Like, no thought about it whatsoever. Just fire it down. Hacking doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm at a virtual 7. Start me. Keep a card on top. Preordain, keep a card on top. Something in here has got to be another land. Unless they're just keeping bolts on top. A little too late. I can pretty well guarantee you they just kept a lightning bolt on top. Too much digging, not enough interacting. I will say this is a pretty good Merfolk matchup. If we see the Merfolks. I guess the bright side is if we had taken the slick shot show off instead of the swift spear, like nothing really would have changed that game. What happened to the surveils in this list? I know that there was one at one point. Couldn't tell you where it disappeared to. What you got? Dart me. We find like a fatal push. And not. All right, so they're down to 1 card. They do have a lava dart in the yard. Fire off. I'm going to cast that. That looks like going to 1. Okay. Always got to love Prowess. So this gives them delirium. So I want to jump one of these. Block, throw away, have to throw away. So I just have to fire that off right now. Go. Handler has to attack into the frog. Survey looking for a dart. Only we block DRC with the big frog. Well, I wanted to block Swift. All right. So one of the big advantages here of blocking the DRs or blocking the Swift Spear instead of the the DRC is I know that the DRC has to attack. I know exactly what the DRC is going to do, period, end of discussion, and I can block it the next turn. The Swift Spear doesn't have to attack. So they can just keep flooding the board with Swift Spears if they keep top decking them. They can't do that with DRC because it has to suicide in. The opponent says, I guess I don't keep land on top there. Just thought it was needed to kill on the turn if iteration resolves. On the draw, Rag is horrible. Bring Thought Seizes back in on the draw. Additional way to hit Cutter. Oh, look, we do have a Fatal Push in the deck. I think we're just gonna Fatal Push this. Basic Swamp Fatal Push. Frog. It's down before they have like Spell Snare up or something. All right, so that makes me really want to lean on Children's Edict this turn, but I'm probably not going to get the chance to. Double Plotted Slick Shot, okay. I'm going to wait until after damage, Children's Edict this end of turn. So that if they have like a Spell Pierce or something, they can't They if they have a spell piercer or something, they can't get delirium and deal extra damage. Okay, moment of truth turn. Slick shot number 1. You got it. Slick shot number 2. You got it. Bobble number 1. Fire Magic sweeps these show-offs, hoping that they don't have a counter spell. Because I could just go Fatal Push with counter spell to play around them having a counter. But ah, crap. Forgot to discard to the frog. I kind of didn't think that was going to resolve. Yeah, that was a punt. Big old fat punt. Not the first time I've ever punted, far from the last time. For whatever reason, in my mind, it was deal damage to the creatures your opponent controls. It wasn't deal damage to your own stuff. I don't know why it was that way in my mind, but that was like what I was convinced that it did there. So just the thought of discarding to the frog never crossed my mind. It's like, oh, why would I ever need to discard to this frog? It's not gonna die. Mm. Discard. I thought Fire Magic was an instant speed whip flare. Pretty much, yeah. Not my brightest moment, but it is what it is. Blank, what's up? I Go. They're so not coming back from this. I hope not, but I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again. One. Instant sorcery. Here is a Merc Father. I would like to pass the turn with double counterspell, fatal push, force negation up. And I hope that it is enough. Close games. Photo's getting a little laggy, so let's reset before the next match. Did I see Grixis came in third in the challenge? I did not. Let's see if we can find the list. Was it like yesterday's challenge? Grixis Control. Oh, this is the dude that's been like salting off on everybody recently. Brusque. Was it that posted? Man, it was on my Twitter feed like earlier today. Somebody that did well in the same challenge. Oh, Dune. Yeah, they literally posted about this person like salting off on them. And then I think I played against them in the challenge like last week. And they called me a god. They called me a god and then like salt roped at the end of the match. But obviously none of that has anything to do with the list itself. I mean, this is like the list that top 8 a challenge not too long ago. People have been hyping up Grixis Wizards a little bit recently. I don't know. I don't think Flame of Anor is that good. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like that card's just really low impact. Doesn't kill Riddler. It does not kill Riddler. You are correct. Oh, Zardul, thank you so much for the follow. I missed that a couple minutes ago. But yeah, it doesn't kill Riddler. And if you're both drawing 2, but your opponent gets to draw 2 with a 4/6 flying body, and you're drawing 2 with a spell that doesn't kill the 4/6 flying body, it's kind of rough. Shame to say I tilted on a guy about a week ago, had a string of horrible luck, and the guy ripped one of his 3 outs, and I just ranted about having 0 luck. SMH. Something, something, do better. Basic planes go. Basic planes into Flooded Strand. What do we think opponent's up to? Fatal Push. My boy Cntrlfreak. Have to make an emote named Cntrlfreak. Actually, I think the Psychic Frog emote now is named Cntrlfreak. Go ahead and flash in this Riddler in case we happen to hit Kaito off the top. Looks like it's just Esper Blink. It's really awkward with two of my non red producing lands. Or two of my non-blue producing lands. Sorry. Sure. Maybe Frog's not good enough right here. Did you see the Grixis control list that got third in the challenge to have Flame Venor and Tameo? Gonna scroll up like 3 messages where somebody mentioned and linked that that list. But yeah, we briefly went over it, kind of talked about it. All good. I just wanted to give you a hard time. Aha, you did have the Felia. Do this before blocks, so if they had an Ephemerate, they wouldn't get to eat the Bowmaster. Awful. If only we had some sort of over-the-top card advantage threat against all of these Solitude decks. What a quantum issue to try to overcome. had it pretty rolled up. Wonder what's the answer to that riddle. If we had something that was drawing multiple cards instead of a 2-mana sorcery, a 2-mana sorcery speed anticipate, that would have been pretty good right there. I'm not sure if such a thing exists, but if it does, we should like try to look into that. Try and build wizards with Sleep Cursed Fae and Spell Stutter instead of Thunder Trap. Fae just turning sideways in the late game has actually been gas and heavy evasion. Every time I look at Sleep Cursed Fae, like all I want is for it to turn sideways in the early game. Somebody fix the problem of it not doing that. It's well in the Wizards' plan of controlling the early game. Does it? Just like a 1-mana 3/3 body that doesn't do anything on its own? Kind of sounds like it doesn't do a lot to control the early game. Got Bowmaster down. Don't Kaito me. Murktide only plays versus Solitude decks. Well, welcome to my life. I want to do that. I'm going to wait until next turn for that. Am I? That could be pretty good. Yeah, I'm waiting. If they have like a Felia into turn here, I'd get super, super punished. Have to hope they don't find a Thoughtseize. They have Solitude, Solitude, Witch Enchanter. Kind of expecting them to have like an Ephemerate there. Mm. What you got? Another Surveil, sure. We've got Solitude, Solitude, Witch Enchanter. Opponent is bidding an Overlord of the Baelmerk. Seems like a pretty good one to be bidding. I guess if you know about the Emperor, makes a lot more sense. Or Overlord gets exiled. And attacks at Kaito. There a world in which you let them attack and Kaito off Bowman next turn. If they fail you, you play off Subtlety. Kind of sounds like what I did. Channer's gone. Am I subtletying this? I'm going to say yes. This could get kind of fun. So we Thoughtseize, take... Ah, I see. Well, now you have to Solitude my Ragavan, or I get to just take your Overlord. And we zero Kaito, looking for a counter spell. We know that they're top decking an Overlord. Got it. Back whatever your heart desires. Turns Orcish Bowmaster. Pretty heads up return on their part. Since I'm probably going to have to minus the Kaito to take out the Overlord. So if I Bowmaster the army token, my army's at a 2, Kaito 5, Frog 6, another Bowmaster ping them is 7, 8. So it's not lethal. Two, three, four, five, six. I'm gonna draw off of the frog, see what I hit. That's a pretty good one. I guess Overlord's like the only really thing they can target with this. Back a Solitude. They're just gonna pass with Emperor up. You have Kaito. So if I Bowmaster shoot Solitude, that doesn't matter. I just Bowmaster shoot them. Block with Bowmaster. Wait, what if I... No. Block with Bowmaster, play Bowmaster, shoot my own Bowmaster so they don't gain life. Throws my Orc army. I have exactly lethal next turn. Block Solitude. Bowmaster, shoot my own Bowmaster. Write that one down. That was a hot line. Yeah, 3-0 looking for the 4-0. I want to bring in Fire Magic. Bowmaster, Solitude. Belia, maybe. I think I'll like consign a little bit more. Poured out like one rag on the draw. We'll see if we can keep our sweet play from going to waste. Quantum Riddler to just draw a card is fine. That's pretty tempting. Kind of rude. Thoughtseize off their deck would have been fire. It would have been, but they wait until the turn after to draw the Thoughtseize. Kind of rude of them, if we're being honest. Take a subtlety. Which means I can almost guarantee you this is an Orcish Bowmaster. Come on. What do I know? But they have a Bowmaster, though. Now they definitely have an Orcish Bowmaster. Of the land. All right, so you go to combat, exile with Emperor, high fatal push, Felia. Good draw. I think I'm dashing Ragavan again. Dash, Rag, attack both. what's discarding? Like, if I discard flow state, cast flow state, and don't hit a land, then I'm kind of boned to this Emperor, right? But if I dash with Ragavan, either they block the Ragavan and I get the Emperor off the board, or the Ragavan gets through and gives me a treasure for this Fatal Push. Either way, like, I get Emperor Bones off the board. And there's always the potential that Psychic Frog draws me into a land. What's the odds of not hitting a land in the top 4? This is a very dangerous stream to ask that question, because I can tell you it's a lot higher than I want it to be. All right. Now I can impending this, but that doesn't help my Emperor Bones problem. But it's got 4 cards, one of which I know is an Orcish Bowmaster. Go for the Thoughtseize. I would like to respond with Fatal Push. These resolves. I assume they take Subtlety since they took the last one. It's kind of best card available. Now, you find yourself staring down a lethal Psychic Frog with an Orcish Bowmaster and an unknown in hand. They cannot have both Orcish Bowmaster and Fatal Push. Only one black mana open. So if I dash Ragavan and they cast the Orcish Bowmaster, I should just be able to go all in on the frog and win. I'd like to exile my Orcish Bowmaster, or exile my 3 cards to jump my Psychic Frog. Discard. 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 Woo. I guess we got to get a prediction going. Let me put that live and I'll catch up on whatever chat's saying. But instead, we get something. Get no pressure. I guess I'm okay keeping this. I've got Thoughtseize on 1, Counterspell on 2, into Thoughtseize plus Flow State on 3. You can, like, kind of make the argument that it's proactive. Oh boy. I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. There is an algorithm at play here. And you can't convince me otherwise. How's the deck felt? The deck is definitely missing a couple pieces that should be in the 75. Like, we forgot to put a Surveil and land in here for whatever reason. The Rag, Frog, Bowmaster stuff, like, always feels fine. You're fighting an uphill battle, but you've got some okay tools. Murktide's been mid. They found the thing, eh? I really want to trade this Bowmaster with Guide of Souls. So I think I have to take either Solitude or Ephemerate. Probably just take Solitude. Hmm. Straight go for the ephemerate. Okay. We've got an unknown in hand. I see they also, or no, they're getting a surveil off this. Never mind. I was going to say they also don't have a surveil land, but they do. They're just going to leave the ephemerate in exile. Got We've got something eventually. Maybe they top decked like a Quantum Riddler, and they're trying to decide if it's worth going for that. Why didn't they ephemerate? Couldn't tell you. Got another ephemerate. Oh. Take the 2 cards that have text. Belia. Hmm. If I counterspell this, they attack, warp out the Felia, or warp out the Bowmaster. there any argument to... Nah, I can't subtlety this. You're gonna like warp out or blink out my bowmaster. Oh, no, never mind. I was gonna say blink out my bowmaster and then like warp a Riddler and draw 2. I think it's orcs, so they don't. Why wouldn't they attack? Like they just jump. If I let that resolve and I flash in second bowmaster, they just have like jump the guy to souls. Like just attack with that. I can't outrace it with subtlety because I'm just jump blocking every turn. Like there's really not a later. I kind of have to do something now, or I just fall too far behind. They've got to be on the Fairy and Quantum Riddler, right? Drop the Merc. Was the push of the White Orchid too premature then? Like, I'm going to have to kill the White Orchid Phantom at some point. I might as well do it where I'm being mana efficient, like untapping with Flow State and Counterspell. If I untap and push then I lose out on playing 2/2 drops. Like Halaya plus Ocelot Pride. Mystical Dispute, Quantum Riddler. So they can't dispute and Riddler next turn. That's fine. It's less damage hitting me in the face. They gained 3. They just gained 2, right? That's 5. Not having surveils is criminal. I agree. Kind of sucks. They've been a Solitude. Seems like a bold one, or bold decision. Quantum Riddler. Let's go Fatal Push, Guide. And I think I am going to Subtlety off of this Consign. And put Riddler on top. All right, so if I Thoughtseize, Yeah. I got Thoughtseize here. Take Mystical Dispute. Yeah, like, I don't think their last card was a white or a blue source, but I don't think there's any reason to risk it. Got a Naked Flagstones. Get another archive and do what? Keep a card on top. What do you think opponent is leaving on top right here? And how does that answer it? Maybe there's an argument for letting that go. Let them get like a Guide of Souls or something and then fire magic away everything. But seems like a fairly risky proposition. Just going to pass here. Solitude. That's a pretty solid dude. Blue State. We're going to do what? Attack with 2 frogs? Go. What do we got? Drawn 5 billion cards this game. Approximately. Is this just Bowmaster, shoot the Solitude, block, frog block, Halaya, ditch 2? Discard, Thoughtseize, discard. Ooh. Talk about a nail biter. We got to do it again. Crap. All right, YOLO. And one thing that's really cool of note, we made it through that game without ever showing them fire magic. So they don't know that it's a card in my 75. Got game 3 of match 5, the trophy match. All of the metaphorical marbles. Rip Daddy Dollars, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. I'll keep this. Not bad. Kaito Bane of Nightmares. I want to preordain, look, digging for a land. Do I want to Thought Seize? I think I want to Thought Seize. So we're going to have some ground to make up. Are they going to go Surveil into Starfield Shepherd, shuffle it away? Yeah, they are. Land. Land. All right. Partially got there. You know, it'd be really sweet right here, a Surveil land. All right, so we got Hallowed Fountain, Ranger Captain, Ocelot Pride. Bunch of unknowns. Am I just mystical disputing this so that I don't have to deal with it down the road? It is only drawing one, so I could go Blood Crypt, Fatal Push, the Guide of Souls. They draw a card. Ocelot Pride comes down. I untap with Frog. But I think this is like too good. I really need to not let them have this in the long game. Please don't dispute me back. I guess dispute back wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So if I Thoughtseize Ranger Captain, Fire Magic, the Ocelot, and the Cat, I take 3 off this, go to 5, but I can't untap and Fatal Push it. So they drew the Ephemerate for that Quantum Riddler. Just so we're aware. He's definitely flying the cat. He's definitely flying the cat. New to Modern, is Delian Fell good enough for the format in Golgari mid-range? I think Delian Fell is a cool card. I don't know if I think Golgari mid-range is a good enough deck. Like, just in general. Okay. Why isn't he? Why would he? Like, Flying the Cat opens you up to things that Flying the Guide of Souls doesn't. Ending my Frog. Definitely don't want that resolving. Am I taking this? Yeah. I think my best chance of winning is having this Kaito. All right. Find Swamp Push and Stun. I can't do that with a known Ephemerate in their hand. Well, if I attack and they block and I or if they block and Ephemerate, I can't Fatal Push, because then if I Fatal Push the 3/4, I'm dead to just like any creature off the top without getting damage in. Guess I just have to pass back. Why would you not attack there? What is that? No attack? That kills us. Like any creature, and they get to put 2 triggers on this. Or arguably one of the better creatures. Maybe they don't attack because they're afraid of a Fatal Push. But if I had a Fatal Push, then I just like kill this guy to souls in response to the Riddler. And that was a weird one. Like the no attack last turn into the Fatal Push, into the attack this turn, into no Fatal Push. I know I can jump the frog and chump block, but there's nothing that I draw off the top that gets me out of this. Oh well. 4-1 with Grixis mids, Grixis tempo, whatever we're calling it. I think that if we have a Surveil land, it starts to look a lot better. Surveil land or 2 helps tremendously. But let's think about the cards that we actually had and how they did. Ragavan is like the best on the play 1-drop in Magic and the worst on the draw 1-drop. Flow State I think flow state's too inconsistent. I don't know what y'all thought about it there. When it was online, it was okay. But there were way too many times that it wasn't online without having to jump through significant hoops, like discard a live card to turn on flow state, or fire off a spell you really don't want to fire off at a time you really don't want to fire it off just to get flow state online. So I'd give it like a C+ rating. Murktide, we did see more. We saw 3 Solitude matches this league after 0 Solitude matches last league. So obviously Murktide looks a lot worse if you're playing into a bunch of Solitudes. A lot better if you're seeing more of the Tron stuff. But I don't know. Like, what if we could just combine these 6 slots into like 3 copies of a creature that drew cards and was an evasive threat? I don't know if something like that exists, but I would like save some room